Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hacking Self-Storage. I am your host, Dean Booty. So on Monday mornings, what we do is we go through a review of my numbers. I give you everything. I go through my conversion rates, how well we've done on quotes, even the revenue. We give you absolutely everything. The idea here is that we lift the curtain of self-store ownership and let you know exactly what we are thinking, feeling, and achieving week by week. On a Wednesday, we go through we have an interview with a leading expert or somebody in the industry. And then on Fridays, I love a Fridays episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, then what I do is give you a helpful tip or a hint or something that I find very, very helpful for me in the self-storage industry. Okay, so let's get on with it then. The week in numbers. Last week, we had 53 quotes. We're having more and more quotes, obviously, with two reasons. COVID, people are moving. Stamp duty in England, we aren't paying stamp duty. And also we're paying more money on Google pay-per-clicks as well. So 53 quotes is about average. I'm not unhappy with it, but I'm not over the moon either. I think it's decent. So the amount of quotes per day on average is 7.57 quotes per day. So nearly 8 quotes per day. Number of reservations, again, in every single week, there is some good figures and there is some not so good figures, but you've got to be very, very careful because these are only a small sample size. So number of reservations was 11. That means quotes to reservations is 20.75%. So 21%. Normally we want to be hitting 30% on this. So it's a little bit low or a little bit lower than where we want to be. Now, has that got anything to do with the fact that we are no longer in doing 4 weeks half price? Has that got something to do with it? It's too early to say. I don't know. So we just have to see what happens. And the only way you know if something works or doesn't work is to test it. And so many people are scared of testing things. And I'm a great believer in test. And then what we do is look at the results and we change our opinion due to facts rather than just thoughts and feelings. So last week wasn't great on the reservations, the conversion rate, 21%. We want it to be higher than that. However, it's a very, very small sample size. 3 of those was forward movings, so 27% of those were forward movings. And that means we had new move-ins of 7. So we had 7 new move-ins. That is a conversion rate, 13.2%. That is not good either. 13.2% quotes to new move-ins. Yeah, 13%. We want to be around about 25. So would it be expecting for them level of quotes around about double the move-ins? However, it's a small sample size and next week is a lot better, which is making me very, very happy. So the amount of new move-ins was 650 square foot and we had 4 other move-ins. And so the total overall move-ins for Stormore was 925 square foot. And the number of times the van was rented out, I'm always interested. I don't know why. It's just like a little geeky thing. The Transit was rented out 5 times. Now, was the Luton? The Transit has been winning recently. Was the Luton rented out more or less? So Transit 5 times. Luton van was rented out 5 times. It's a draw. It's a level header. So again, it's still, if you aren't doing free van rental, then it is worth its weight in gold. It's really paying for itself. It's a win-win-win. We're earning a very small amount out of it. However, the most important thing is it's a win for the customers. We're helping the customers and it's not costing us anything as well. So it's a win-win-win. Okay, so where did our quotes come from? We had 53 quotes last week. Where did them quotes come from? 37 came from Google, so that's 70%. Word of mouth was 6, that's 11%. Passing by was 8, that's 15%. Used before, estate agents, removals, blog, and Bing was 0. And used before, social media was 1, so that's 2%. So again, most of the quotes are coming from Google. I have been asked to speak at the Spanish self-storage conference coming up in May. And one of the questions, it's a really good question. They're going to ask me and the other panel, they're asking, should we put all our eggs in the Google basket or should we look elsewhere? Where do we go with our advertising spend? And it is such a good question. It really is a fantastic question. And I know that I already disagree with one of the panelists for absolute certain on this. And I'm not 100% on it, but I believe in meeting your customers where your customers are, and your customers are on Google. There has to be an intent to have self-storage. So there's no point in spending lots of money elsewhere where there isn't an intent, because people are going to Google it. If they're looking for self-storage in their area, they will Google it. So I know that there's big companies, you can put it on their notice board, etc. You can do that. You can put it in their mailing list, etc. But what are the chances? A, they need self-storage, and B, that they are in a 5-mile radius or 3-mile radius of your location. And the chances are pretty slim. And so are you wasting your money? Are you wasting your time? Are you wasting your effort? I suspect so, but I haven't tested it, so I'm not 100%. But I would certainly say that for me, you need to focus on Google. That has to be the pillar of your advertising. Everything else is secondary. And if you want to test and throw some money at something else, absolutely, of course. But what you can't do, what you shouldn't do, is forget about Google. You need to have Google at the forefront of your mind, because Google is the place where people will search for your self-storage. That Google is a place where you will go for an intent. When you've got an intent for something, then you will search Google. And for God's sake, don't be one of those people who say YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. Yes, it is. But it's how to. It's how to do this. How to, I don't know, for example, what exercises to get a six-pack? How to hang a shelf or put up a shelf. It's all those sort of things. It's not where is the closest self-storage to me or self-storage in Hull. And so it's really nil and void for us. Although we do some retargeting on YouTube, on Facebook, etc. The biggest majority of our ad spend is on Google. Anyway, I feel like I've really give up my whole speech in this for the Spanish Self-Storage Association. I'm really looking forward to that, actually. Okay, so how much square foot moved in and how much square foot moved out, I will tell you in a moment, straight after a word from our sponsors. Okay, I am back. So we moved in last week, 925 square foot. We moved out 600 square foot. So we was positive 325. When I had these figures emailed across, I actually emailed James back and said, look, did anybody move out? Did people move? Did some people not move in that were supposed to move in? And we had 100 square foot that was supposed to move in that didn't move in, 2 50 square foot units. So should have been more for whatever reason. It's still a positive 325. Can't argue with that. So the amount of rooms moved in was 11. Amount of rooms moved out was 11 as well. Total internal rooms occupied is 345. No change from last week. Containers in 0. Containers out 0. So we've got 22 containers occupied at the minute. Car parking in 0, out 0. Total number of car parking spaces rented at the minute is 15. Store occupancy is 81.17%. And we can't build out anymore. So I'm so excited to get to the 85%. Again, I don't know why, but probably because of what I've listened to and read since our very, very early doors in the self-storage industry, that 85% is where you want to be. And yeah, so we're close to that mark that doesn't really hold any importance, but it's one of those psychological barriers that I want to get across. 85% full for Stormore will be fantastic. Here's something really, really good. Weekly average sales per move-in is £25.08. So we're finally above the £25 per move-in mark for merchandise, for boxes, etc. So yeah, that is good. Here's something that's really surprised me. I was looking through these figures. The total amount of insurance sold this week was £82,000. That means the average amount of insurance sold this week per move-in was £11,714. I mean, I have no idea what's happened there. I must have missed it. I get a daily report with the amount of move-ins and the amount of insurance they take, and I actually must have missed it. I must have missed the phenomenally large amount for one person. Somebody will have taken a big amount there, which has obviously bumped up the rest. So yeah, £11,000 of insurance average insurance amount per move-in was £11,714.29. So yeah, really good. Again, this is a section that I look to. As soon as I get these figures on a Sunday, I look to see the amount of move-ins due this week. We've got 13 move-ins due this week. We've got 1,125 square foot due this week. And we've got 850 square foot due to move out this week. So I believe we're going to have 1,500 square foot move in this week. And yeah, I reckon it's going to be a 700 net square foot week. I mean, they're massive claims. But yeah, that's a target based on the figures that I've got right now. I want 1,500 square foot moved in, and I want to gain 700 square foot. They're the targets. We'll see if we hit them. If we do, that'll be phenomenal. That means we'll be 1,600 square foot up for the month, because the 1st of May is a Saturday. So yeah, so we've got 5 days this week to see what happens. So next week I want to hit 700 square foot up, and then we'll see if it's 1,500 square foot. That'll be fantastic for the month. Yeah, 1,500 square foot, brilliant. Okay, the amount of revenue. The amount of revenue we have taken at Stormore last week was £13,902.68. We had bounce direct debits of £366. We always seem to have a lot of bounce direct debits at Stormore, but nobody, again, is owing us over 28 days. Obviously, we'll have multiple people under 28 days, but I only find out when somebody's over 28 days. So at the minute we have nobody over 28 days, which is good. So £13,902.68, which is good. Really happy with that. And at Beverley we took £2,808.39. So, and by the way, no bounce direct debits again, Beverley. So the total revenue for both sites is £16,711.07. £16,711.07. Something that's not so great. If I open it up here, let's have a look. Here we go. True period revenue versus actual revenue. So at Stormore, true period revenue says we should have taken at this point £56,582.79. But the actual revenue says we have taken £51,567.11, which means that we are in negative £5,015.68. Now, that is an awful lot of difference at this stage. Now, I have got a note here from James. When he emailed me, he says that it's significantly down. We need to have a look at this. However, we do have some cash to the bank, which will help, but it will still be significantly down. So kudos to you, James, to looking into that. I know there's a problem, know there's an issue, and being on top of it. So cheers, buddy. So Beverley, true period revenue, £12,060.92. The actual revenue is £10,455.81. So we're a negative £1,605.11. So yeah, maybe we might catch up on that. We'll see by the end of the month. Something I've got to say though is that we have been in front on the actual revenue versus true period revenue. So the law of averages says it's got to play itself out, and at some point we will be down on true period revenue versus actual revenue, because we've always been up on the actual revenue. Okay, so is there anything else? Let's look at these figures. No, that is it, my friends. Thank you so much. I massively appreciate you guys. Really do. All the kind words is amazing. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So appreciate that. I've been asked to do so many things because of this podcast. And the only reason I've been asked to do so many things is because of you guys listening to me. So I want to take the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And if you do want to come on the podcast, we're looking for the next round of guests. And if you do want to be a part of that, it doesn't matter. You know what? If you're new to the industry, if you want to get into the industry, if you've got 1 store, 2 stores, 3 stores, 10 stores, whatever, I want to talk to you because I'm interested to hear from everybody's journey, because I promise you, somebody listening right now will be able to relate to where you are in your story. And that's all we've got to do, is bring on guests where people can relate. And no matter where you are in a journey, I always learn something from every single guest. So, yeah, if you do want to get on, then send me an email, deanbooty, B-O-O-T-Y, @icloud.com. Okay, my friends, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and go forth and get some many reservations and loads of movings. Okay, dudes, dudettes, I'll speak to you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.